Hello YouTube, welcome to my playthrough of Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templar. That's it, let's get to it.
Alright, anything about Andre?
Just how long have you known Labino?
Andre? We met at college. He helped me out when I was a fresh air. Showed me around, that sort of thing.
You never told me that before. I thought he was just a working acquaintance.
So he is. I rarely see him these days. You know, he hasn't changed much. A little lesser at the front, perhaps. I'd forgotten how much fun he could be.
Oh yeah.
This is the chalice I discovered in Spain.
I still can't figure out why the Countess gave it to you. After losing it for all those years, she simply gave it away to a total stranger. She's one prawn short of a paella.
The Countess is a fine lady. You shouldn't compare her with seafood.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on between you and that Countess.
Are you serious? She's old enough to be my grandmother.
Some people have a thing for that. You never know. Okay, let's back out and
I better get back to the quest.
we have another place to go. Montfaucon. So, we're going to head over to there to see what we can find out. Alright, so we have a juggler, we have a cop. Let's talk to the cop.
Excuse me, officer. What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
Let's see if he's seen our costume killer.
Have you seen this man before?
No. Who is it?
I believe him to be an international assassin.
Oh.
Is that all you can say? Oh.
I did wonder if I should say that I believe you to be an international paranoiac, but it didn't seem polite.
Let's see if he's hidden Club Alamet.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The pattern looks Middle Eastern.
Yeah, so the same answers pretty much anywhere. So we're actually going to back
I'll
out.
see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
And we'll go and talk with... We'll go and check out the church first. So
I didn't have time to sit around.
go and talk with the church minister. Oh, no, not that he's a minister.
Excuse me, Father.
Pardon?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Not at all, monsieur. It will be my pleasure to help you.
Alright, let's see what answers he has for our questions.
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
You have come to the right place, if that is your interest. Many of them were executed in the square outside. It was a disgrace to France.
Well, the Pope was right behind it, though.
Clement V was a man of memory, not of God.
That's kind of forthright for a priest, isn't it?
You think so? It is hard to be sure what happened. It is so long ago.
Alright, let's ask about him.
How long have you worked here?
Hardly work, monsieur. This is a calling. I have been helping Father Flambert for nearly 6 months now.
I guess you don't know much about the history of this church, then.
Just a little.
You've got
Tell us.
quite a shine on that candlestick.
Ah, oui. Anything less than best would be an insult to the Almighty.
I guess so. I never thought of it like that.
So he's a very big polisher. Polisher of candlesticks. Let's show him our cup.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know. It is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
Sure.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And now he'll just polish that forever until we've done what we need to do to be able to get that chalice back. So we'll just take a look around, see what's here.
On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack.
What about this?
A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. I could see that what had at first seemed to be a fine engraved chasing on the scroll was actually writing. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Sounds pretty familiar to me.
I wonder why.
Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported. Per discipline.
Now he looks through and
A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess.
okay, let's check out the I'm not sure what they're called.
A stone
They're called
knight
something.
lay at the end of a row of 4. I wondered if this guy had died in combat. A stone knight lay in full
remember what they're called,
stone
man.
armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout.
So we're just going to go through,
Somehow
look
it looked
at
more
some
modern
stuff.
than its neighbor.
Then we'll go back and talk to the priest and see what he has to say about the bits and pieces inside the church or cathedral.
A knight there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess.
Okay.
The
so I'll have a
priest
chat
was
with the
still
priest.
busy with the chalice, so I decided to have another look around the church. The priest was...
Okay. Well, we're not going to stay and have another look around the church. I shouldn't go outside. And now we're going to talk to our friend, the Mr. Juggler.
Hey, you with the balls.
Oui,
How did you learn to be a juggler?
juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu. A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballatic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crownheads of Europe and the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders. Plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult.
I can't juggle either. I could do 2 balls. I could juggle 2 balls. Not
Still,
3.
it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not.
So I'll chat with him again.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Get a conversation out of the way.
Ah, the last Grand Master, Jacques Dumoulin, was burnt on an island in the Seine in 1314.
Wow. You're pretty well educated for a juggler.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
It's better to be able to read than it is to know.
Have you seen this man before?
No.
What do you think of my nose like his?
Look, a red nose.
Ah, you are a clown.
A clown?
No. If so, you would be a much better jongleur.
For a moment, an idea capered around near the spotlight of my attention, but fell down the pothole of abstraction before I could focus on it.
Well, so he thinks
Does
he's
this
better
textbook mean anything to
because
you?
he's a jongleur,
smoke?
even though he
No, I don't.
has a red nose.
In that case, it means nothing to me.
Crazy. Okay, so we're back out of this conversation now.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
And we will talk to the police officer, see if he has
Hello
anything
again.
else to say.
Hello again, monsieur.
And he does not.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Ah, you are a clown.
Do I look like a clown?
No, although you juggle like one. Now, if I'd known you were a clown, it would have been amusing. And not a humiliation for you.
What do you mean?
Whoever heard of a plainclothes clown?
He had a point. So
He
you're
did have a
saying that
point.
if I juggle badly with a red nose, I'd be the king of comedy. But if I juggle badly without it,
You look like a pathetic loon. Oui, monsieur, you have it.
Alright.
I'll see you around.
So let's see if we can make the policeman laugh.
I'll be there.
And there's a reason why we have to get the policeman to laugh. And we have to get rid of this guy. So we're going to take our red nose. And we're going to use it with the jongleur.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
I'd like to have another try at juggling, please.
You have gone on a crash course, perhaps?
No, I just had an insight into presentation.
Huh?
Allow me to demonstrate. The balls, please.
If you insist on completing your humiliation, monsieur.
Okay, now for my secret weapon. The juggler was speechless with rage. You could have mistaken him for a mime. And without a word, he collected his balls and left in a fury.
Bye-bye.
Hey! You forgot one of your balls! Hey! But he didn't hear. Better still, deprived of his entertainment, the gendarme decided maybe he ought to do some policing for a change.
Okay. So we'll go back up. See if we can talk with the priest now.
The priest was still busy with the chalice, so I decided to have another look around the church.
Okay, well, I guess that's a no. So the reason why we had to get rid of the police officer is because of the same reason why we had to get rid of the jongleur. The jongleur was stood on this manhole right here, and while he was stood there, he wouldn't let us down. Not only that, but the police officer would tell us off saying it's illegal to go into the sewers of Paris. Now, we've already done this before, but we're going to do it again. Just like that. Alright, so we come to a new area into the sewers. Although it doesn't look like sewers. Not any sewers I've ever seen in any movie. American made, ever. We will take a look
The
at
wall
these
had
walls.
flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone.
Okay, so that one's flaky.
The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templar and something about innocence.
A clue?
My medieval French isn't much, but the few words I understood seemed to say, this is where the gallows used to stand. Maybe.
So the gallows were right above. Let's go this way and see what happens over here. Let's see what this is.
I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked.
Okay. So we have to find a way to unlock that door now.
The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The wall seemed in very poor condition. The inscription was undecipherable. The plaster had cracked and was falling away. I wondered why.
So over time, solid stone will last a lot longer than a wall that's supposed to look like stone. So, any archaeologists, geologists, history buffs, look away now.
It was time for some brutal destruction. Hey, that's hollow! I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this.
Yeah,
There was
would.
some sort of mechanism hidden inside the wall, with a lever in the middle of it. Here goes. The secret door had jammed. I couldn't get through that gap.
So now I need to open the door. Now I do not have a shell casing like Nico did in the first episode. This does not work twice. See, what we do need is this winch. If you thought the first part of what I just did was bad, look away. So what I've just done, really, is given the world a new perspective on what happened to the Templars and a little bit more history, because now they know that there's something behind this war. You'd think, right? But no. Okay, so now we are in a brand new area. We are going to move, not down, but to this little crevice right here to see if we can see anything.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report. The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging.
Recognize anybody yet?
Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
You should be able to
Governments are
recognize at
giving the
least two.
corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish.
I think he's supposed to be
The
Australian.
pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say, our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty, a trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the Order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course, my apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition the next time that we meet. It will be to become the princess of this world!
Global domination. Okay. Let's hop down the tunnel to see if they've left anything behind. I wonder.
In the middle of the circle was a stump of stone, a shaft of daylight from the world above lancing down to touch it.
So I wonder what we could do with that. Even though
The
you
water
probably
seemed to
figured it
belong
out.
to an underground river or something. It was way too deep to belong to the catacombs.
Alright. Right, so if you haven't got it by now, 1, 2, 3. Tripod.
The tripod's feet fitted neatly into the notches on the top of the stump.
And then because of the beam of light, you should automatically have deciphered that into the gem.
The light falling from above struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays. And each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the left, I could read M-A-R-I-B. Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant.
I don't know either. Not yet.
Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Clantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria, but they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria. You're not thinking of
Just
going
knows
there
that off the top
yourself,
of
are
her
you?
head.
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay, what about the tripod?
I'll send it back to Andre, anonymously.
It's a good idea.
Thank you guys for watching this Broken Sword episode. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to see some more Broken Sword story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification button when it does come on live. If you've got any feedback, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please leave it in the comments down below. If you'd like to see some more live content, please hit me up on one of these live pages when I go live. I have different content for different channels. And at the end of the day, YouTube, don't just be cool, be downright fearless.